Every consumer product business needs a website. And in the next 30 minutes, you're going to learn exactly how to make your websites perform better and be much more profitable. We're excited to have on the show with us today, Greg Silvano, who's the founder and CEO of Mojo. And they're a website developer extraordinaire in my industry, especially the direct response TV industry, dealing with literally thousands of inventors over the course of many years, big companies and small companies. And really nobody knows the space of direct response websites or really high performing websites better than my good friend, Greg. So I'm really excited, Greg, to have you on the show today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, John. Excited to be here.
Let's talk about your background a little bit. So I don't even know offhand. I know we've worked together for a very long time, but when did you start? How long has Mojo been around?
Mojo started, so I owned a software consulting company. We had 60 developers and, just doing custom database driven enterprise level business apps. And I stumbled into the direct response industry. Actually, I met somebody at a bar and they were big in this industry. And we started talking about websites and just how things worked. And that was in 2011. So it started as a side project for the consulting company, just something we just built, just kind of see if it got any traction. And then we spun it off as a separate company in 2013. And I've been working on it full time since then.
Wow. And I think we probably go back to about that far.
It goes back. Yeah, definitely. We were probably 2013 or 14. So yeah. Mojo went through a couple different revisions. That first version that we created in 2011, 12, it wasn't right. It was what that person I met thought they needed. But then, in hindsight, you realize it's not really what they needed. So that version died off pretty quick and we created a second version. And then in 2013, we put it out there and we found that second version, it worked great for the company we were working with, but once we put it out there to everybody else, the problems that first company had weren't really the same problems everybody else had. So we weren't really solving, the industry's problems. We were just solving that one company's problems. So we realized that pretty quickly in 2013. We shelved that version, created the third version of Mojo, which launched in 2014. And that's the one that, by and large would be recognizable to people today. Obviously, it's had 7 years of modifications and additions to it. But, by and large, you look at it and see it's the same thing. So 2014 is really when it exploded and people really started to come on and people would recognize the name, at least in this industry, they'd recognize the name Mojo.
Yeah. And really since then, it's amazing. I get websites sent to me all the time from new clients saying, hey, this is what I want my site to look like. And I'm like, well, as coincidence would have it, that's a Mojo site. So, exactly. They may not know that, right? The branding's not always present there, but they're great looking sites, but I think, more importantly, really, they're great, great performing sites as well. And I do encourage everyone, we'll talk about it at the end as well, but go check out GotMojo, GOTMOJO.com. You can see a lot of Greg's work after we get through this, and I'll have that in the show notes as well, but just so you can see some of these examples. Again, that's the visual side, but then there's the performance side. And, we get questions a lot from product marketers, inventors who, a very normal platform in this industry is Shopify, right? A lot of people start off with Shopify and they don't realize if they're doing it themselves, how much time and effort it takes to get it even off the ground, let alone to look good. One of the things I love about Mojo is that it's, I guess you'd call it WYSIWYG development, right? Where it's just really easy. Like even I could do it. I'm no website developer, to use a template and turn it into a really cool looking website in, minutes, really, other than, writing up the content that it takes. Yeah. As beyond the ease of use with Mojo, which, it's really easy to make a site. I know you guys develop sites for a lot of our clients as well, where you do it from scratch or the clients can do it themselves. What are some of the things that you've found over the years that make your sites perform well? Like what makes Mojo sites unique?
Yeah. So, it's a combination of a few things. The parallel with Shopify makes sense in the sense that Mojo is a hosted e-commerce platform, just like Shopify is. And technically, you could do a lot of what we do in Shopify. It would require a lot of apps that you need to install and configure, and they'd be separate from Shopify. The big difference is that Shopify is a traditional e-commerce platform. So you have Shopify or WordPress plus WooCommerce or BigCommerce, Wix, Squarespace, a lot of those. And they're geared towards traditional e-commerce, which is categories of things. It's men's and women's and children's and shirts and shoes and socks and belts and things like that. And you browse through the store and you look to see things and you add it to your cart. And then when you're done, you click on, I want to check out, and you go through a multi-step checkout process. And, the reality is, if you have a product, so let's say you have a kitchen product, or you have a kitchen appliance or something like that, and you go to a site like Walmart.com or Target or Bed Bath Beyond or even Amazon. If you look at that same product across all the sites and you removed the logo from the site, you would not be able to tell Walmart from Target from Bed Bath Beyond or Best Buy or any of the other ones, because they're all very templated in that fashion, right? They're very, here's a nice looking homepage, here's a category page of kitchenware, and then here's a product details page. And that product details page almost universally looks the same. You have a thumbnail on the side with maybe other thumbnails underneath. You have a price, maybe the ratings or something like that, and then underneath you have a product description. And it's purely dynamic driven. It's driven by a database. Somebody ahead of time puts in that content, and then the site renders it on the fly. A Mojo site is very different in the sense that it's more like a magazine advertisement than it is a driven templated type of website. So there's more effort that goes into the creative of the site, and it's a microsite or just a landing page. So you're just looking at that one product. A Mojo website is as much about even the offer as it is about the product. So this is what you're getting. You see what you get. It is, you buy two, get one free. It is the offer, not necessarily just a price. It's an offer. It is, reviews and usage shots, and there's more effort that goes into that. And that's the entire site. And then when you click on buy now, order now, you might get an offer selection page where it's good, better, best, gold, platinum, silver. You choose your different configuration or options. And then it's a one-page checkout. You put in your shipping information, you put in your credit card information or PayPal or Affirm, whatever the financing app, if you're using it, you click order now, you bought the product. Right. So that's that idea where it's about a product, you buy the product, and then normally we would have one-click upsells, downsells to help improve the average order. So fundamentally, it's a much more streamlined process. It's definitely a much more focused process that impacts the conversion rate more than anything else, right? So the conversion rate of that type of site is 4, 5, 6, 10 times higher than an average Shopify conversion rate. And then Mojo itself sits really more about landing pages and microsites. Mojo specifically, we're built as an A/B testing engine from the ground up. So you can A/B test. Not only do we support every type of offer that's ever happened in a direct response campaign in the past 10 years. So it's, 1 pay, 3 pay, 5 pay, trial offer, BOGO, buy one, get one, continuity, subscription, all that kind of stuff. But you can A/B test those. So you could say, maybe this offer works better if on the landing page, we don't talk about continuity because, people don't know the campaign yet. They don't know the product yet. They don't trust it yet. So we're not going to hit them with, do you want to subscribe to this thing? So maybe on the landing page, it's just that one offer of, buy one bottle. And then after the transaction, right? So after you bought the product, you have the upsell option to, would you like to try continuity? Maybe you can give you a discount. If you say no, maybe there's a downsell to that. We'll give you free shipping the first 2 months for free. So now you can test those things, right? Instead of just hitting the customer with everything you've got, you can test out all these different options. And ultimately, that's where the benefit comes from, to be able to just effortlessly, easily do these kinds of things as a marketer, which is what a marketer wants to do.
Yeah. And some of those things, you make it sound so easy, and really with the Mojo platform, it is. Mm-hmm. With other platforms, it's not. So A/B testing, for example, yeah, you can do that with a lot of platforms, but it's cumbersome. And if you're not a coder, to get in the back end or hire some developer to work on it, it's, can be almost impossible. You know what you're supposed to do, right? You test, just for those that may not know what split testing or A/B testing is, just offhand, it's, you test 2 price points, let's say, right? And both sites can be live at the same time. Half the traffic goes to one, half goes to another. And Mojo just makes that really easy to do.
So easy. And it's the ease that matters, right? So I'll tell you, there are testing options out there that are more flexible than Mojo. They have more options than Mojo may have. They are not easier to use. So we focus on the things that we think a business user, who really should be the person making the decisions, the marketer, right? That business user can go in and do the test. And the analogy I give people, and this is funny because this is an analogy I gave back in 2011, 2012. do you have a smartphone, right? So you think back 2012, right? So 2011, when people were just really taking off with iPhones, and I'd hold up the iPhone and say, do you have an iPhone? Yes. Do you check your email on it? Yes. Why? And everybody gave the answer, well, I want to stay in touch, right? I want to know what's happening. I want to stay in the loop, and I need that information. It's important to me. And the answer is no. That's not why you check your email all the time. And if it took 2 minutes to check your email on your phone, would you check it all the time? No, of course not. You check it all the time because it's easy, right? They make it effortless to do it. That's why you do it all the time. And to us, the idea is that you should be testing all the time. You never stop testing. When the numbers aren't working and you need them to work, you test. When they are working, well, you still need to test because, and I'll give you a story on this in a second, because things change constantly. The competitive landscape changes. Test your old tests. Maybe something that didn't resonate with people a year ago resonate now because somebody else was pushing another product that now all of a sudden they get it, but maybe they didn't get it when you first tested. Political landscape, the social landscape changes, right? Things change all the time. So test your old tests again. And the story I was just, I alluded to a second ago, in one of our clients in 2020, last year, fitness product, things going through the roof, clearly, right? You had COVID and people couldn't go to gyms, so they were buying at-home fitness equipment. So this client had a manufacturing issue, and they had to increase the price of their product by $5 to compensate for that. And he was dreading it. He's like, you know what? Sales are going great. I can't believe we have to increase the price of the product, and it's going to hit our conversion rate, and they're very metrics driven. So he increased the price of the product. The product was between $100 and $150, so it was a $5 increase. And no impact on the conversion rate whatsoever, zero, right? So they increased it $5, not one iota of a percentage difference on the conversion rate. And he said, had I tested that earlier and just increased the price of our product by $5, we would have made an additional $300,000 in 2020.
Wow. Wow.
That's it. That test with their volume, because when you do an A/B test, you want about 100 orders per variant, right? So if you're running a two-way split, you want version A to have 100 orders and version B to have 100 orders. With the volume of orders that they were doing, that test would have been started in and running in production in about 60 seconds, right? So I mean, it takes nothing to do the test. And with the volume of orders they had, they would have been completely through the test in about an hour.
Wow.
Maybe 2 hours.
Wow. Yeah, I love no, and I love how you talk about the easiness of it, right? Like we really always should be testing. And I talk to our clients where I always call it a test. Like, well, even when we go on national TV, it's a test, of course, right? The first week, but even a year into the future. And I get the question back, like, well, are we actually going to be on the air? Are we getting real orders? Well, yeah, absolutely. But we're constantly testing to learn what's going to work best. And the easier you can make that test, the better. I want to talk a little bit about upsells, because for our audience sake, there's really simply three different things that are going to drive the success of any campaign, especially in the direct to consumer space, right? It's traffic, right? Generating the traffic. That's not Mojo's responsibility, or that's not the website's responsibility, right? That comes from TV or from a Facebook campaign or whatever. It's where the traffic arrives. Once we get there, now it's two things that the website has to do, and Mojo's so good at. It's really about conversion. You talked about that, as well as your average order value, or increasing that. So I'd like to pick those apart a little bit further. So let's go first to upsells, just because I love the way that you do it in such a unique way. You talked about one-click upsells. I want to dive a little further onto that. So for our audience, again, if we've got a certain number of purchases coming through, if we can simply raise the average order value, our profits go up, right? Because your revenues go up with the same number of customers. Exactly. And
you spent $1,000 to drive people to the site. Okay. Well, if you only make $1 per order, right? And let's say you had a 100% conversion rate, that means all $1,000, you got 100 people coming to the site and they all bought something. You only made $100 in revenue, not profit, certainly. So, they're getting that average order up is a critical part of the campaign. I'm going to say what you just said in a different angle. What most people don't understand is that build it and they don't come, right? You can build a website and have the greatest product in the world. The reality is you are going to pay for 100% of the visitors to your site for a long, long, long time. Peloton, they are paying for every visitor that comes to the site. They're doing TV ads, they're doing social ads, they're doing everything they can to drive people to the site. The days of, oh, I'm gonna come up with this great kitchen idea and I'm gonna show up on Google. It is never going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Even if you own the brand, right? So people are searching for your brand. If you're in retail, you have to knock off Amazon, Walmart, Bed Bath Beyond, Target, eBay, every other site out there that's selling your product, right? I mean, so just being able to say that, people will find us does not happen, right? So it's a thing that people need to really remember when it comes to these campaigns, right? So now if you're paying money to drive somebody to the site, you have to make money on that traffic, right? So you drive to the site, and let's say you have a $19 product. Let's say you have a $20 product. So let's say you have a $29.99 product. Well, they get to the site. Most people would think I would like them to buy my $29.99 product, right? So I can afford certain media that drives people to the site, and they're making, $29.99 per sale. Okay, well, that's the price. That's not the offer, right? Offer is king. Offer is your price with some marketing pizzazz. Okay, so an offer is buy two, get one free. Okay, so let's say you do that. Okay, so you have this thing, and the math works out for you, right? So you can ship them efficiently and a cost effective, and maybe it's not so big and so heavy that you can really put two in there and get one free, and the math works out. Well, all of a sudden now, instead of a $29.99 average order, if you can get 20% of those people to pick buy two, get one free, now it's $60, right, for those customers. So now your average order goes from $30 to maybe $40. It's a big difference. And then let's say, 20% of those people picked it on the landing page, the buy one, get one free. And now you have an upsell afterwards for people who did not pick it, saying, you know what, buy one, get one free, and we'll give you free shipping too. Right? There's no risk here because it's a post-transaction upsell. They've already bought the product. So you're not going to offend them by giving them a better offer, and you can give a discount that maybe they wouldn't have seen on the homepage. So by being able to figure out ways to eke up that average order by offering things, it could be an entirely separate product. Maybe it's a kitchen set, and it's kitchen, pans and cooking things, and oven mitts. Buy oven mitts for $10 or whatever it is. If you can get that average order up, you already paid for that person to get to the site. So anything that you can add to that order and get it up a little bit more, it improves the overall finance of the campaign. So, and that's how all these things work. All those infomercial campaigns, everything you see on TV, they can't afford TV commercials if they're only making $19.99 for the product. It's impossible, right? You just can't afford that type of media. So you have to have ways to get that average order up.
And the interesting thing with the Mojo site platform that is so different from, I would say, traditional e-commerce sites or platforms like Shopify is the way the upsells work, right? So you can explain this better than I, but in short, what I'd like to talk about is how you get them in the system, into the funnel, right? They've started the purchase process. They added to the cart the main product. We added their billing information. Everything's done. Then we present upsells. And then, so if they leave any time throughout, you don't lose the sale. And that's what's so different with Shopify. If you lose them on the back end. So yeah, I'd love to hear about you talking about that and how that works so well.
It makes a big difference. So what'll end up happening is once you buy the product, so they have purchased it, they've decided what they want, the credit card has been authorized, you're good. You bought the product. At that point, they could walk away from the computer. They're done. Or phone. More often than not now. And what a post-transaction upsell, downsell is, it's a series of offers that you click, yes, I want it, or no, I don't. And they can be logic driven. So for example, if you have a good, better, best cart, selection where they can buy, and let's say it's a fitness equipment. There's a basic and a deluxe, and deluxe includes the leg extensions and more weights and things like that. So let's say you buy basic. Okay, so you buy basic and you click complete my order and you've bought it. The first upsell could be, you sure you don't want deluxe? And it could be the same price. That's it. It doesn't have to be particularly creative, right? But it has to be put in front of a customer in order for them to choose. They say, hey, are you sure you don't want deluxe? And if they say no, you could say, all right, would you like deluxe if we gave you 20% off? And if they say no to that, you could say, all right, would you like the leg extension, just the leg extension, not everything that was in deluxe. Do you want the leg extension? Yes, I want that. Great. Do you want the additional free weights or the bands or whatever it is? So, obviously You don't want a dozen of these things in your checkout flow, right? I mean, you don't want to have somebody say yes, no, 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 and just keep pestering them. But you want enough where if people simply say yes to the things that make sense to them that they want, then you're giving them value, right? You're often giving them a discount to things, and you get the average order up. It works. It just works. And you'd be surprised how many people choose post-transaction upsells. That's the thing. You know, people always worry, oh, I don't want to offend my customers.
Yeah.
Give them an option. That's all it is. I mean, it's not, you're not calling them on the phone during dinner time. You're simply giving them a yes, no option during a checkout flow. Nothing wrong with that.
And if you can increase your average order value by even 10%, I mean, we see this double or triple or more sometimes, but even 10%, why not do this, right? It's all to the bottom line.
It is an absolute game changer. I mean, you talk about if you talk to companies, what if we could increase your average order, or your sale or anything by 10%? It's a big number. Right, that $5 for the customer, the Mojo client I talked about earlier, $5. That's it. It was less than 5% of their product price, and $300,000 in additional sales. Makes a big difference, and that little difference. So, I'll give another long story. Can I do a long story?
Sure.
It's about testing. It's actually a client from last year again, and they launched a product, and it had a great average order. So whatever the average order was, it worked for the campaign. They were great, but the conversion rate was not where they needed it to be. So they just didn't have enough people converting. But once they did, the average order, made sense for the campaign. And there's a major company. So what they did is they ran a test. They ran a series of 18 tests. Every single test was a change to the offer, and that's it. The landing page did not change unless the imagery was about the offer, right? So every single test of the 18 tests was nothing else than changing the price of the product and the upsell flow. And here's what they did. So price of the product was where they needed to be because the average order looked really good. Conversion rate not where they needed to be. So they just cut the price of the product. Okay, so here we go. So whatever it was, I don't want to give too many actual details because I don't want anybody to figure out which product it was. So they cut the price of the product. Conversion rate, boom, went right up, right? Because it's a great value at this point. So conversion rate went right up, but of course the average order went way down, but like proportionally, right? It was like up 50% for the conversion rate and then down 50% for the average order. So that was, I think, test 2. Test 3 through 18 was nothing but the offer, the upsell, downsell flow. That was it. Landing page did not change once. So what people were buying, because the conversion rate now worked. So what they did is they introduced deluxe upsells. And these were not, and well, they introduced a lot more than just deluxe, but the one they focused on was deluxe. And this was not like a minor deluxe upgrade. So this isn't like, here's a $50 product and here's a $75 deluxe. It was like, here's a $50 product and here's a $200 deluxe. I mean, it was a massive deluxe thing related to the product, but it was a big, huge upgrade. And what they ended up doing was, would you like the deluxe? Well, not enough people were taking that to impact the average order. So they then had a downsell that simply said, are you sure you don't want the deluxe, right? Just a simple, same price. That didn't work. So now it was, do you want the deluxe? And there was a downsell that said, do you want a discount on the deluxe? That still didn't work. The one that ended up working was, do you want the deluxe? No. The downsell was, are you sure you don't want the deluxe at the same price, but we'll give you the original thing you bought from the landing page for free? That was the offer. Boom, campaign took off.
Wow.
Right? It's just, it takes some creativity, right? They're selling the same stuff. You don't need everybody to get the upsell, right? You need enough so that the math of the campaign, the actual just revenue coming in, if you get 100 people ordering it and one of them spends $1 million, whole campaign changes, right? Because now you got $1 million that you could spend on media, knowing that 1% is going to spend $1 million. And that's how this works. You just need the average order to be at a certain amount so that your cost per order, right? How much you're spending for people to come to the site to get the numbers to work.
And it's, I was going to go down this question line around conversion rates, but I think you just answered the question really. Conversions mainly come back to, there's a few standard things that everybody should do on websites to make them work. But most things are different for every campaign. And it really comes back to testing, finding a way to be able to test different options.
Yep. And you need to leave time and budget for testing. That's another thing that people don't think of, right? They think that build it and they will come. Not the case. Actually, I'll dispel a few myths here. Build it and they will not come. We talked about that. You're going to go viral. No, you're not. It is absolutely 100% you are not going to go viral. And here's the worst part. Even if you do go viral, you're not going to sell any product. We've had 2 viral hits on Mojo, like big viral hits. One was on the Ellen show 4 days in a row, and they gave it away on the 4th day. They sold 1,000 units. That was it.
Wow.
1,000 units. So build it and they will come. No, you're not going to go viral. You are going to spend money to drive traffic, and you need to allocate budget and time for that, right? So say it another way. There's a difference between the professional marketers and amateurs. And I've distilled it down to this. And I've never said this out loud until this. So hopefully this is valuable. Amateurs spend all their time and effort launching the site. Make sure the font is perfect and the pixels here are perfect and the image is wonderful. And they make sure that this is something they are so proud to show their family and friends that voila, I have created this amazing site. And they launch it and they check the box. We have launched our website. That's an amateur. Professionals launch a site in about 6 hours. Any site. They will launch it, get it out there, and start driving traffic to it. And then the work begins. They put no effort into creating the site, or as little as possible, and then all the effort into driving traffic and testing ideas. That's the difference. Amateurs think, my site is launched, let fate decide what happens to it. And the professionals do not act that way.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think that comes down to even, frankly, product development, or if you're doing a marketing video, video campaign, it's not about getting it perfect out the gates. It's always about testing. So even your first prototypes, right? Just start, and then you're going to learn so much.
Don't be afraid. Just get it out there. Yep.
Exactly. That's when the learning
especially this web. We're not printing CDs that go into a cereal box and you're stuck with it, right? You printed 1 million of these things and they're going out in the mail. This is a website. You can change it in 15 seconds. Something's not working. We have clients all the time. They'll put it out there and something worked and they started and it didn't work. They take it offline. Gone.
Yeah.
Put more work into it, relaunch it again.
Well, Greg, I want to ask one more question. I'll just basically ask if there's anything I didn't ask you'd like to share with our audience that you think could be helpful. Before I do that, though, just as you think about that for a second, I want to stress to our audience how I think lucky you are, frankly, to hear from Greg. I didn't realize this, but as we prepped for this interview, I learned that this is his first podcast interview. You wouldn't know it from listening, right? And I knew it was going to be a great interview because Greg and I talk all the time, and I know he's always teaching us, teaching our clients. He's so knowledgeable, but also just a great teacher at this. And I know you gained a lot from this experience for sure, but I do encourage everyone, please go visit gotmojo.com. If nothing else, check out their templates and see, learn from the thousands of very successful campaigns that they've really been behind for many years. See some of the templates, see what's been done in the past. At a minimum, you'll get some learnings. And if it's the right platform for you, for your business to try out, fantastic. Just you can reach out to them directly or come through us at Harvest Growth, either way. Greg, did you think is there anything I didn't ask you think could be helpful for our audience?
Yeah. So I had that epiphany of the difference between amateurs and professionals. I've never spoken out loud. There's one other that I've been, if I get around to doing a blog and writing a book, this will be a key part of it. And I think it's super important because it has nothing to do with websites. It's what I call the 2 M's that are going to make or break you when you're doing these types of campaigns. And people think, oh, it's money and Mojo, and it's not. Number one is media. Media is king, right? Being able to identify an audience and get people driven to the site. I tell people all the time, build your website, and this is coming from the website guy, build the website as cheap as you possibly can and save your money for media. That is where things will take off or they won't. So media is king. That's the first M. And the second is, it's funny, whether you are a small business owner, you are an entrepreneur, an inventor, whatever you want to call yourself, if you're going down this path, congratulations, you are now a marketer. And that is the second M. If you are to buy a book, buy a marketing book. If you are to learn anything, it is learn how to be a marketer. Don't learn the HTML and the technology, any of that kind of stuff, manufacturing, don't care. you are a marketer. And if you look at the best people in this industry and the best companies in this industry, they probably have the word marketer in their name. They are marketers. And it's a teachable thing. You can learn it, but you have to seek out that information. How do you pitch something? How do you tell a story about a product? How do you talk about a unique selling point? How do you differentiate yourself from the crowd? That's what it's about, because it's crowded out there. So, if you buy an ad, you have, a few seconds of their attention. And if you don't understand marketing, they're never going to end up on that website to begin with.
That's great advice. And I think a great segue also, I'll encourage our audience to go visit our website out, which is infomercialmarketer.com. It is in our name.
There you go. It's funny. I wasn't even think of that too.
And that is not our, that's not our corporate site, but that's a site where we give a lot of free content, much like you've just learned from Greg on how to market your product on TV, online, and the website is such an important part of that. But I definitely encourage our listeners and our viewers, as part of our audience, to go check out gotmojo.com. It's in our show notes as well, and learn more about Greg's company and what they might be able to do to help your business as well. Also, be sure to check out harvestgrowthpodcast.com to see other episodes of this podcast we've recorded. And if you like this episode and you want to learn more about how you can profitably grow your consumer product business, please subscribe to our show. Be sure to leave us a review at iTunes or Google Play.